Hello guys, it's Matt, Fam2, and what we're doing today is we're going to be installing MDT 2013. Now the process for that, as you see, we logged in. You get the pop-up message because I restarted the server. What we're going to do is we're going to enable remote desktop. We're going to allow less secure. That's usually what I use. It's just a test machine anyways, and what we're going to do is also change the name, keep it on a work group. I don't really want to put it on my domain, but I just want to keep it in a work group just to make it simple. Going to restart the server, and we're back at the login screen. Control-Delete. I'm going to log in with the password. Oops. I skipped out on some things so you guys didn't have to watch it all. But first thing you definitely want to do is just Windows updates. That's something you definitely want to do. You want to make sure your system is up to date, and if not, you're going to be at risk of those security flaws. And I mean, there's those features that you definitely need on your server that you should definitely have in a business. So, I mean, the reason why I chose Windows Server 2008 R2 is because it's still in businesses. I mean, it's not going to go out till I think 2020, like when Windows 7 does. The same process happens on Windows Server 2012. You can use it on 2012 or 2012 R2. I don't know if I'll be making a video for that. I mean, it's the same type of thing. I might make one for R2, but that'll be the same process as what I'm doing right here on the screens. And we did get an error with Windows Update, so what I did was I restarted the server. And it had like a couple updates to install, or there was something wrong with it. And I restarted it, then boom, it worked. And then it had like 800 megs of updates to install, 132 of them. So get the log back into the server through remote desktop, accept the certificate error. I shouldn't say it's an error, but it's like a certificate that pops up, and click remember or don't show again. Then what we're going to do is we're going to do Windows updates. So I wanted to change the time zone. Usually that's what I do whenever I get a server. I change the time zone if it's not on the domain. You also want to, for the servers, give it static NIC addresses. You definitely want to do that. You want to turn off the Internet Explorer. It's the thing that pops up all the time whenever you go into try to like look up something on the internet. Pops up and then you have to click on it all the time. So what I'm going to be doing is choosing the updates for the server. Usually what you do is whenever you have like a domain or a corporate network, you have a WSUS server up, and that will provide you with all the updates that you need, so you don't have to go through this process. You also need group policy enabled too. You can't keep your computers or domain servers in the actual computer's container. If you keep them in the container for computers, unless you set it up, then you won't get WSUS updates like that. I mean, you can still get updates. I mean, you also can point to the WSUS server and get updates that way, but it's pretty much better just to make a container and then set everything up that way, so it all points and automatically updates on your local network rather than going to Windows Updates or Windows update.microsoft.com and doing it that way. It's a lot faster. This process took like 20-30 minutes to do, and it didn't really help either trying to install all of it, so that's the reason why, 120 updates. I was wrong about the size though. It took a while, but I cut out the video for it, for you guys, so that's the good thing. Of course, accept the terms. Can't really install anything if you don't accept it, so as you can see, it's taken a while. I only had one core on the server too, but then I changed it around when I shut it down. I actually shut the server down and then threw, I think, 3 extra cores on it. It was like pretty slow. Oh man, I'm tired. It's been a long night. I have to do these videos all the time, so it's a lot of work with having work and then doing this. I know a lot of this stuff, I know how to do it, but coming up and preparing to talk to you about it and doing the video, doing the edits, and even with a GTX 770 in my card, still it's slow rendering. So what I did was I restarted the computer and then I signed back in through remote desktop, and now it's preparing my desktop. Desktop's up, installed Service Pack 1. This is way after I installed those updates. I had to install Service Pack 2. So what you're going to want to do is go to downloads. Pretty sure I did that. No, close out of that. Go to downloads, and then you're going to want to download that file from Microsoft. That is the Microsoft.NET 4.0, I'm pretty sure. And you can download that through Microsoft's website. Just search up Microsoft 4.0, .NET 4.0. But yeah, definitely first you gotta install that. It all depends on your setup and what type of hard drives you have, how fast it'll be. Plus, I mean, if you you can download like the thin client application, but then it's gotta like download from the download server and then install it, and it takes longer just doing that. Me personally, I think this is a really great product. The Microsoft is actually made for free You can really put it on any type of computer you want, like Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows Server 2008 series, and Windows 2012 server. You can put it on any of them. Say you got a small business and you want to put on like a Windows 7 computer that you don't really use at all, and you can set it up to be a image server pretty much. It's pretty cool. I mean, it doesn't have to be like a big powerful 20 core server and 64 gigs of RAM and 60 SSDs all in a RAID. It doesn't have to be something like that. You just gotta have a decent network. You gotta have one. I'd recommend about 100 to 1 gigabit. Definitely don't do it over wireless. It's way too slow because you're pushing over 3 gig image. Well, you got to push the boot image out, and then you got to push out the ISO, and then also if you have applications, it's got to install that way too. So it's got to do all that. I mean, if you got the time to just run it and you're going to go out and do other things, and that's the way you have things set up, that's perfectly up to you. But with me, we have, well, at home, at my home area, for my workshop, I have a 1 gigabit backbone for my routers, and then I have just 100 megabit full duplex on them. And it does it about 11 minutes. 11 minutes, 13 minutes is pretty fine to install a whole computer and get the sequence going for it. So it's not bad. But whenever I do it at the corporate network, when I have that set up, it does it in about 4 minutes just to install the image. It also all depends on how much RAM you have and what your hard drive capabilities are. Like if you have a 7,200 RPM drive, you have an SSD, do you have a SAS drive, do you have a 10K drive, do you have a 15K drive? And it all depends. And is your CPU good? Do you have a quad core? Do you have a Xenon? Do you have a AMD 6 core, 8 core? So it all depends on that stuff too. I didn't really think this part took that long, but I guess it did. So, well, it should be done soon. But just remember, this is all just what I'm basing off of what I do. It works for me, and I can't complain. It's done a lot of help for me. I don't have to sit there and think about, oh, what am I going to name it? What am I going to do for it? What am I going to install on it? Like, I got to ask, like, the customers, or not the customers, the clients. I'm thinking about my other type of work. You don't have to ask the user, like, what do they need on their computer. I mean, it's just, whenever you're working for a company, you're going to have that set of applications that every single person needs. Just for example, the Office Suite. Everybody needs that. Everybody needs Outlook. Just that example. If you put that in there and you set up the commands for it to run, the silent commands, put that in there, set it up, let it run, turn off the computer in 10 minutes, then give it to the person. They can use it while it's doing all the other stuff in the background, like all the updates and everything that it needs to do. I mean, if you set it up that way, I mean, once it's done installing the OS, the applications, then it's done, shut it down, give it to the person. When you have the computer in the container with the group policy, it does everything from behind. And then if any other applications need installed, then just there's other ways you can do it. You can do it through, if you have SCCM 2012, 2010, 2007, if you have any of them, you can do that through that way and push out applications through that way, or you can push out applications through group policy in the container that you have. I haven't really worked too much with group policy. That's not really my department type of thing. I'm more of I'm trying to be a Cisco guy. But since I'm a systems administrator, you gotta know pretty much one of everything. So you can't just sit there and focus on one thing. For best practices, you're going to want to restart your computer, but I didn't. I just restarted later. Now we're going through the MTD process. Just click on anything. Everything that I clicked on, you got to click on pretty much. At least that's what I think the best setup is. Click accept, click install. It may vary depending on what you want to install for MTD, but the default applications are perfectly fine. If you have a SQL database, you can definitely use that for other things later on that we'll be talking about in the next videos. If you have the SQL server, you can monitor which, you can remotely push out these types of sequences on the computers, and then you can monitor it from actually MTD inside. It has a monitoring tool, tells you the time, how far it's done, all that good stuff. Hopefully I'm looking at getting a MacBook Pro, maybe. MacBook Pro or a Mac Pro. And some cinema displays. I definitely want to replace my gaming PC. My gaming PC, I have just a regular setup. It's not too spectacular, but it takes a little while to render videos. It used to take me 4 hours to render videos, 5 hours. It's ridiculous. So as you can see, it's going through the install process to install the WAC, the W-A-I-K. So they have different kits. There's one for Windows 7. There's one for Windows 8, Windows 8.1. They have MTD 2010, 2012, and 2013. So, preferably you want to use the newest one, but you can use whichever one you want. Since 2010 dates back to when 2000 server. 2008 server was still in use, so you can use that on 2008 R2. You can also use 2010 on 2012 server, I'm pretty sure. And next you want to install the MDT kit. Just go through the installation process and set it up. It's not too hard. I previously installed it, but then my video crashed, so I had to reinstall it. So that's why you see the deployment workbench on there. But yeah, definitely want to make sure you have those files. And if you go to Microsoft Deployment Kit, click on Deployment Workbench, which I have it on my desktop. Wait a little bit. And then it'll start to snap in. And there you go. That's your deployment share. I had mine already set up, but I'm going to close mine and I'm going to recreate it for you. So there's a new database. I forgot that it was already set up, so I have to create a new one. So I just made deployment share 1. Deployment share 1. The money sign means it's hidden. Just left the description same. Uncheck all that. Next. And let it create it. Finish. Then you're good to go. Thanks for watching, guys.